They're saying that a lot of this was unprofessional conduct.
I signed an agreement so that I can get back to work.
The first time we tried to talk to Dr. Ron Rubin, he hid from our cameras in the bathroom of a state building. When he finally emerged, he refused to answer our questions. Dr. Rubin, the order says that you have been grossly overprescribing narcotics for years. Anything you want to say to those allegations? He now says he was just following his lawyer's advice.
The hearing's about to start. We're not going to talk right now.
But now that his case is over and his license has been indefinitely suspended, he says he wants to set the record straight.
I didn't steal money. I didn't sleep with any patients. I didn't act unethically.
Most everybody believes this is among one of the harshest orders we've delivered.
I'm confused.
We've reprimanded him, we've suspended him, and we've limited his license.
I don't get it.
I think he thought he was God.
Debra Wilcox blames Dr. Rubin for problems she's had with her teenage daughter. She says Dr. Rubin gave her child psychiatric care without her consent.
I had a messed up daughter after this.
Wilcox claims Dr. Rubin got her teenage daughter hooked on Adderall, a potent amphetamine prescribed for attention deficit disorder. Her prescription was for 90 milligrams a day, more than twice the maximum recommended dose for an adult, yet she was just 15.
He would take my daughter's prescription and take some pills out for his own use. He's the one who got my daughter hooked on pot.
That's not true.
Were you smoking pot with him in your basement?
Ever, never. I've never smoked pot with a patient.
According to complaints filed with the Wisconsin Medical Examining Board, Dr. Rubin overprescribed stimulants to at least 9 patients last year, many of them people he met at Wisconsin strip clubs. Were these strippers? Were you handing out amphetamines like candy to strippers?
Not at all.
Dr. Rubin says he considers a recommended dosage just that, a recommendation.
I had hundreds of patients taking these medicines. If there were only 9 that were outside that range, I'd actually be surprised. I was not prescribing dangerous amounts.
State investigators say the pills weren't just for Dr. Rubin's patients. Sometimes he took a cut for himself, a claim Dr. Rubin says is outrageous.
When I prescribe something to somebody and it neither works, or somebody else prescribes something and they say this stuff isn't working, they don't want it sitting around a house with 6 kids.
So he says he took the medicines back from his patients, tore off the labels, and put them in his desk drawers, planning to eventually dispose of them.
I've found that in 30 years, I don't know of a place where I've worked along other physicians who didn't do exactly the same.
But according to the Medical Examining Board, it's against the state's medical rules. And so was the other activity Dr. Rubin stands accused of, failing to maintain patient health care records, overprescribing amphetamines, and prescribing controlled substances to family members.
You can imagine the cases that get our attention. This was one of them. This was significant enough that it got our attention.
Dr. Kenneth Simons, chair of the Medical Examining Board, says it's not the board's job to punish doctors, but it is the board's job to protect the public.
If we had just limited him or suspended him for a year or 2 years, he could crawl under the proverbial rock, hide away, and complete the terms, and then he gets to come back. He has to ask us for permission.
I'm confused. I don't get it. I really don't know what I did to deserve this, to have 30 years of practice without any significant incident.
But there was a significant incident back in 1996.
I think it's awful, particularly because I did attempt to get his license from him.
This woman, Tammy, met Dr. Rubin a year after he got his medical license.
And he said before I got my prescriptions that we had to go to the bedroom.
In a malpractice lawsuit she filed against him in 1998, she claimed Dr. Rubin sexually exploited her.
We dated for a while.
Rubin admits he wrote Tammy prescriptions, but as for the sex, he says it's kind of like Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky.
There was issue of what constitutes sex and things. While we may not have had intercourse, you may call that sexual contact.
11 complaints have been filed against Dr. Rubin since 1997. And while the Wisconsin Medical Examining Board has a reputation for not coming down hard enough on dangerous doctors, it looks like, at least in this case, there was a steep price to pay for not following the rules.
I mean, I don't understand either why they came down like a ton of bricks on me. I'm confused about that, truly.